Most gardeners waste hundreds of dollars every single year replanting the same crops over and over again. They dig, they plant, they harvest, and then they start from scratch. But what if I told you there's a category of plants that you only need to plant one time, and they'll keep feeding you year after year, decade after decade, without spending another dime on seeds or seedlings? These aren't ordinary vegetables. They're perennial powerhouses that actually get stronger and more productive the longer they stay in your garden. While your neighbors are exhausted from constant replanting, you'll be harvesting abundance that renews itself. Today, I'm breaking down 10 crops that will change the way you think about food security forever. In the next 18 minutes, you're getting 10 perennial crops that professional homesteaders use for real food independence. For each one, I'll show you why it works, how to grow it, and one powerful tip most gardeners never learn. This isn't about working harder, it's about planting smarter, so nature does the work for you. If you want a garden that feeds you without constant replanting, hit that subscribe button now. I drop new videos every week on perennial crops and food security strategies that actually work. All right, let's get into it. Sweet potatoes are one of the most underestimated perennial crops on the planet, and here's why. Most people think of them as an annual vegetable, but if you understand how they grow, one planting can give you an endless supply. Sweet potatoes produce slips, those little shoots that grow from the tuber itself, and those slips can be replanted season after season without buying anything new. In warm climates, they'll actually keep growing year-round. Even in cooler areas, if you save a few tubers indoors over winter, you've got free planting material for life. What makes sweet potatoes even more incredible is that the vines spread fast, naturally choking out weeds so you spend less time maintaining your garden beds. The leaves are edible too, packed with iron and calcium, so you're literally getting 2 crops from one plant. Imagine harvesting fresh greens all summer while the roots are developing underground, then pulling up pounds of sweet potatoes when fall arrives. Nutritionally, these tubers are loaded with beta-carotene, vitamin C, and fiber. They support eye health, boost immunity, and keep your digestive system running smoothly. To grow them successfully, plant your slips in loose, well-draining soil with plenty of sun. Water them consistently, but don't drown them, because soggy soil leads to rot. Here's the game changer most people miss. Save 3 or 4 of your healthiest tubers from each harvest and store them in a cool, dark place. When spring rolls around, those tubers will sprout slips naturally, giving you free plants forever. You'll never need. Asparagus is the ultimate patience-rewarding crop. Yes, you have to wait a couple of years before you get a full harvest, but once it's established, it'll produce tender spears for 20 to 30 years from a single planting. Think about that. One investment of time and effort, and you've got decades of gourmet vegetables that sell for top dollar at farmers markets. Asparagus crowns go dormant in winter, store energy underground, and explode with growth every spring before almost anything else in your garden is ready. You're eating fresh asparagus in April while everyone else is still planting their tomato beds. Nutritionally, asparagus is a powerhouse. It's packed with folate, vitamin K, and antioxidants that support heart health and reduce inflammation. What most gardeners don't realize is that after you finish harvesting in early summer, asparagus develops these beautiful, feathery fronds that shade the soil, retain moisture, and suppress weeds naturally. It's like having a built-in mulch system. To get the best results, plant your crowns in a deep trench with rich, well-draining soil and full sun. Don't harvest anything the first year. I know it's tempting, but let those spears grow into ferns so the roots get strong. Year 2, take a light harvest. By year 3, you're in full production mode. Here's the pro move. Every 10 to 15 years, divide your asparagus crowns and replant them in a new bed. This rejuvenates the plants, increases your yield, and expands your asparagus patch without spending a cent. You're basically cloning free food. Rhubarb is one of those old-school perennial vegetables that just refuses to quit. Plant it once and it'll thrive for 15 to 20 years with almost no care. Every spring, those thick, tart stalks push through the soil like clockwork, ready for pies, jams, sauces, or even savory dishes if you get creative. Rhubarb develops massive root systems that store energy through winter, which is why it comes back so strong every season. Those roots also improve your soil structure, breaking up compacted earth and benefiting everything around it. Now here's something critical. The stalks are edible and delicious, but the leaves are toxic. Never eat the leaves. This makes rhubarb a great teaching plant if you've got kids, because it shows them that not every part of a plant is safe to consume. Nutritionally, rhubarb gives you vitamin K for bone health, vitamin C for immunity, and a good dose of fiber. To grow it right, plant crowns in well-draining soil with full sun or partial shade. Let it establish for 2 or 3 years before you start harvesting heavily. Mulch around the base to keep moisture in and weeds out, especially during hot summers. The secret most people miss is this. After 5 or 6 years, dig up your rhubarb crowns, divide them into sections, and replant those sections. You've just turned one plant into 5 or 6 new plants, and they'll all produce for another 2 decades. Free rhubarb for life, and you can share starts with. Garlic is so much more than a kitchen staple. It's a self-sustaining crop that improves your soil, repels pests, and keeps producing if you manage it right. Most people plant garlic every fall and harvest it the following summer, but here's what they're missing. If you leave a few bulbs in the ground or replant your biggest cloves, you've created a perpetual garlic system. Hardneck garlic varieties are especially good for this because they develop scapes in spring, those curly green shoots that are edible and delicious. You can harvest the scapes without hurting the bulb development, getting you 2 harvests from one plant. Garlic also acts as a natural pest deterrent. Plant it near tomatoes, peppers, or rosins, and you'll notice fewer aphids, beetles, and fungal issues. Some gardeners even say it improves the flavor of neighboring crops. Nutritionally, garlic is legendary. It's packed with allicin, a sulfur compound that boosts immunity, supports heart health, and has natural antibacterial properties. To grow garlic that keeps coming back, plant individual cloves in fall, about 6 inches apart in loose, well-draining soil with full sun. Mulch heavily before winter to protect them from frost. When you harvest the following summer, don't pull everything. Save your 5 or 6 largest, healthiest bulbs and replant those cloves in fall. You've just created a self-renewing garlic crop that costs you nothing after the first year. Jerusalem artichokes, also called sunchokes, are one of the most aggressive perennial crops you can grow, and I mean that in the best way possible. Plant a few tubers once and they'll spread underground, creating more food than you know what to do with. They're incredibly resilient, thriving in poor soil, tolerating drought, and resisting most pests and diseases without any help from you. These plants grow tall, sometimes 6 to 8 feet, with bright yellow flowers that look like sunflowers. Those tall stalks provide shade for smaller crops and act as a natural windbreak in your garden. The tubers themselves are knobby and strange-looking, but they're packed with inulin, a prebiotic fiber that feeds the good bacteria in your gut. They're also rich in potassium, iron, and vitamin C. One of the coolest things about sunchokes is that you don't have to dig them all up at once. They can stay in the ground through winter, and you can harvest them as needed. Cold temperatures actually improve their flavor, making them sweeter. To grow them, plant tubers in spring, about 4 inches deep in loose soil with full sun. Space them about a foot apart because they will spread. In fact, they spread so aggressively that you'll want to plant them in a contained bed or use barriers to keep them from taking over your whole garden. Here's the trick. Leave a few tubers in the ground every year. They'll sprout on their own the following spring, giving you a completely self-propagating crop. 0 replanting required. Quick pause. I want to know which of these crops you've already tried growing, or which one you're most excited to plant this season. Drop it in the comments because I genuinely read every single one, and your experiences help other gardeners learn what works. And if you're getting value from this, hit that like button. It pushes this video to more people who need to know that there's a better way to grow food than replanting everything every year. Alright, the next crops I'm about to show you are even more incredible. Some of them are so low maintenance, they almost feel like you're cheating nature. Stick with me because the bonus tips coming up could save you hundreds of dollars and turn your garden into a food-producing machine that runs itself. Ginger is a tropical treasure, but don't let that fool you into thinking you can't grow it. Once you plant ginger rhizomes, they store energy underground and keep expanding year after year. In warm climates, ginger will grow continuously with minimal effort. In cooler regions, you can grow it in containers, bring it indoors during winter, and replant it outside when temperatures warm up. The beauty of ginger is that you don't have to harvest the whole plant. You can dig carefully around the edges, cut off a piece of the rhizome for cooking or tea, and leave the rest in the soil to keep growing. Nutritionally, ginger is a medicinal powerhouse. It's loaded with gingerol, a compound that reduces inflammation, aids digestion, soothes nausea, and supports immune function. Fresh ginger root is infinitely better than the dried powder you buy at the store, and having it growing in your garden means you always have it on hand for stir-fries, teas, or natural remedies when you're feeling under the weather. To grow ginger successfully, plant rhizomes in loose, rich soil with good drainage. Ginger prefers partial shade, which makes it perfect for those spots in your garden that don't get full sun. Water consistently, but don't overwater, and add mulch to retain moisture. Here's the secret. After each harvest, save a small piece of the healthiest rhizome and replant it immediately. That piece will grow into a full plant, ensuring you never run out of fresh ginger. It's a cycle that perpetuates itself. Horseradish is the kind of plant you plant once and then spend the next decade trying to control because it's so aggressive. But that aggression is exactly why it's perfect for a plant once, harvest forever garden. Horseradish roots are insanely hardy, surviving freezing winters and coming back stronger every spring. The roots are pungent, spicy, and perfect for making fresh horseradish sauce, adding kick to dressings, or mixing into marinades. What makes horseradish even more valuable is that it naturally repels pests. The sulfur compounds that give it that sharp flavor also deter beetles, aphids, and other insects from nearby plants. The large green leaves also shade the soil, reducing weed growth without any effort from you. Nutritionally, horseradish is packed with vitamin C, fiber, and compounds that support immunity and digestion. To grow it, plant root cuttings in well-draining, fertile soil with full sun or partial shade. Give it space because it will spread. In fact, many gardeners plant horseradish in dedicated beds or use barriers to keep it from invading other areas. When you harvest, dig up the roots in fall after the first frost. Cut what you need, but leave some roots in the ground. Those remaining roots will sprout new plants the following spring. Here's the bonus move. Every few years, dig up your horseradish patch, divide the roots, and replant sections in fresh soil. This keeps the plants vigorous, increases your yield, and gives you extras to share or expand your growing area. Mulberry trees are the kind of investment that pays off for generations. Plant one tree, and it'll produce hundreds of pounds of sweet, juicy berries every single year for 30, 40, even 50 years. Mulberries are incredibly low maintenance once established. They tolerate a wide range of soils, handle drought better than most fruit trees, and require very little pruning. The berries ripen over several weeks, giving you a continuous harvest instead of everything at once. You can eat them fresh, freeze them for smoothies, dry them like raisins, or turn them into jams and pies. But here's what makes mulberries even better. They attract pollinators like bees and butterflies, which benefits your entire garden. Birds love them too, which some people see as a problem, but I see it as part of the ecosystem. You're feeding yourself and supporting wildlife at the same time. Nutritionally, mulberries are loaded with vitamin C, vitamin K, iron, and antioxidants that fight inflammation and support overall health. The leaves can even be used for tea or to feed silkworms. To grow a mulberry tree, plant it in full sun with well-draining soil and water it regularly for the first couple of years while it establishes roots. After that, it's mostly hands-off. Here's the pro tip. Plant multiple mulberry varieties if you have space. Different varieties ripen at different times, extending your harvest window from early summer all the way into late summer. And prune lightly each year to maintain shape and encourage heavier fruiting. Tree collards, also called perennial kale, are a vegetable that most people have never heard of, but once you grow them, you'll wonder why you ever bothered with annual kale. These plants develop woody stems and keep producing fresh, nutrient-dense leaves for 10, 15, even 20 years. Unlike regular kale that dies after one season, tree collards just keep going. They tolerate frost, handle drought better than most greens, and grow in a variety of soils. The best part is that you can harvest leaves continuously without killing the plant. Just pick the outer leaves, and new ones keep growing from the center. It's like having a living salad bar in your backyard. Nutritionally, tree collards are a superfood. They're packed with vitamins A, C, and K, calcium, iron, and antioxidants that support bone health, immunity, and overall vitality. To grow them, plant cuttings or starts in full sun or partial shade with well-draining, fertile soil. Mulch around the base to retain moisture and suppress weeds. Prune the plants regularly to encourage fresh growth and prevent them from getting too woody.
Here's the game changer. Tree collards propagate easily from cuttings. Just snip a 6-inch section of stem, stick it in moist soil, and it'll root within a few weeks. You can create dozens of new plants from one original plant, expanding your greens production without spending a dime on seeds. It's the ultimate self-sustaining vegetable. Blueberry bushes are the final crop on this list, and they might be the most rewarding of all. Plant a blueberry bush once, and it'll produce sweet, antioxidant-rich berries for 20, 30, even 40 years. The longer the bush grows, the better the berries get in both size and flavor. Blueberries are also incredibly beautiful plants. They produce white flowers in spring, lush green foliage in summer, and brilliant red leaves in fall. They're as ornamental as they are productive. Nutritionally, blueberries are antioxidant champions. They're packed with vitamin C, vitamin K, fiber, and compounds that support brain health, heart health, and reduce inflammation.
To grow blueberries successfully, plant them in acidic soil with a pH between 4.5 and 5.5. If your soil isn't naturally acidic, you can amend it with sulfur or plant in containers with acidic potting mix. Blueberries need full sun and consistent watering, especially during dry spells. Mulch with pine needles or wood chips to retain moisture and maintain soil acidity. Here's the secret that triples your harvest. Plant at least 2 different blueberry varieties near each other. Cross-pollination increases both the size and quantity of berries significantly. Once your bushes are established, they require minimal pruning and almost no maintenance, just water, mulch, and harvest. What you've just learned isn't really about gardening. It's about a completely different approach to food security. Most people are trapped in a cycle of replanting, spending money on seeds and seedlings every single season, exhausting their soil and starting from zero year after year. But perennial crops flip that entire system. The longer they're in your garden, the stronger they become. Year 1, you're investing time and energy. Year 2, you're starting to harvest. Year 5, year 10, you're living off a garden that practically runs itself while everyone else is still buying plants at the nursery. This isn't just about saving money, although you absolutely will. It's not just about fresh, organic food, although that's incredible. It's about building something resilient that protects you when grocery prices spike, when supply chains get disrupted, when things feel uncertain. It's about working with nature instead of fighting it every season. You don't need to plant all 10 of these crops tomorrow. Start with one, just one. Pick the crop that excites you most, the one that fits your climate and your space, and commit to it. One smart decision today creates abundance for years. Nature rewards patience, and when you plant with intention, when you choose crops that renew themselves, nature rewards you for life. If you're ready to stop the cycle of constant replanting and start building real food independence, subscribe to this channel for more perennial crop breakdowns, sustainable gardening strategies, and tips that actually work long-term. Your future self, the one harvesting blueberries 10 years from now without lifting a finger, will thank you. Now go plant something